Right? And I see this all the time also with plenty of different financial products, even with cost segregation, right? We'll have people that are going to try to sell the product without really understanding what it is, or, perhaps understanding it, but not telling all of the, the downsides. And people ask me when I'm interviewed on podcasts all the time, well, what are the downsides of cost segregation, right? And there's a list, okay? There's a laundry list. So the question is if it's going to be right for you. In many cases it is, but in certain cases it's definitely not. So in retirement accounts, right? Give me an example of some type of misinformation or people being presented with certain products without understanding the ramifications of those, because the shiny object, right? You have, this great tax savings and great tax shelter and everything like that, but what are they missing out?
So there are, in this space, there are lots of different account types. And then there may be folks out there that have gone ahead and try to market something in a way that conceals exactly what the account type is that they're selling. And investors don't know what they're signing up for. They do not know the rules. And frankly, if you do not know what type of retirement account you have, you can't possibly play by the rules. So that's definitely going on out there. People may feel great because it may have a certain cachet associated with it, because it's being presented as something novel and new and innovative. You're getting your money. And so people may have this account. They may feel great because they got control of their money. They're controlling it. It's gone into some sort of real estate deal, but that doesn't mean the liabilities aren't there. Because if all you have is a piece of paper, but from a tax perspective, you shouldn't be using that type of account, or you're not operating the account the way it should be, then you're better off without having that account. You want that shiny object if you actually know how to use it and you know what the shiny object is. So surprisingly, I'm finding people that have a retirement account that they're investing in real estate, but when I ask them, so what type of account is this from a tax perspective? How would the IRS classify this? And they just know a whole bunch of buzzwords.
They don't know because they signed up for some, right? They signed up for some product, offering them financial freedom, right, through using their retirement accounts, and it has this, fancy, shiny words to it, and it's marketed great, and the person selling it may have been interviewed on hundreds of podcasts and maybe really, for example, and when it comes to the nuts and bolts, the person who's holding it, which really is the one who has to bear the risk, doesn't even know what they have signed up for.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything wrong with what they signed up for. It's just impossible to know. It's a bit of hit or miss, but also if they don't know what type of retirement account they really have, they can't manage it, right? So 401k plans have to be maintained a certain way. When you operate a 401k plan, there are technically a couple of different roles that have to be played. Now, those roles, you may have one individual or one service provider that's doing all those roles, but there are about 5 or 6 different roles that have to be completed, right? Just like when I say an accountant and a tax strategist are 2 different roles, but of course, your accountant can also be a tax strategist. He can wear 2. They're distinct roles, but you can have them both in a single individual.
Hats. Yeah.
Right. So when 401k plan, for example, any type of QRP, qualified retirement plan. So you're going to have a document provider. You're going to have an administrator. You're going to have a trustee. You're going to have an investment manager, right? You're going to have the sponsor. These are all sorts of different roles. Now, you don't have to have 5 different service providers, for that. But if somebody is presenting you as saying, hey, we're giving you a 401k plan, we're giving you QRP, but all they're being is a document provider, and they're not looking out for any of the other roles. So you may think, hey, I've got a QRP. You got a piece of paper, but you may not have the operational support that you need and the guidance to know whether or not you can actually have that QRP. So if you have that piece of paper, it's just a piece of paper.
Gotcha.